Hello, besties! Welcome to Martinez with Eddie, your ultimate destination for everything Bravo. Join me as we spill the tea, dissect the drama, and uncork the juiciest gossip from your favorite reality TV shows. I'm gonna say one thing. I feel like 2023 has been the year of the revenge. We have Shakira with the anthem of like breakups. Like if you speak Spanish, you know what I'm talking about. It was a hit. It was amazing. She was like, I'm packing my stuff because I'm not crying for you, PK. I'm gonna make my cash somewhere else. And now we have the revenge of it all. The dress that we saw last night, Ariana wearing. That was the revenge dress. And we are gonna be talking about all the craziness that we saw on the Vanderpump Rules reunion. But I can't do this by myself. I can't have a reunion kind of like recap. We're gonna dive into the mess with a group of friends. They're not only my friends, they are also content creators who know Bravo like nobody else's. So let me introduce all my friends one by one. Hi, Candy Cane. Hi.
Hello. Hi, Eddie. I'm
How?
so excited. And shout out to all my candy canes in the comment section. I see you guys. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you guys for always supporting. And I know we are going to have a good time. Remember that you can leave comments, you can leave questions for all of us. If you have an opinion that you want us to read on the podcast, you know you can do it. Use that live chat as we go. Also, we have two amazing Bravo holics and Bravo content creators. They run the Bravo Breaking News podcast. Let me introduce y'all to Kim and Lisa. How are you guys?
Hi, everyone. I am so excited to be here. I am ready to channel my inner James Kennedy and come for Tom Sandoval.
Yes.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for having us, Eddie. Let's dive right in because you know we got a lot to say.
We had so much to talk about. My friend Caitlin from Bestie by Bravo will be joining us in a minute. So we are going to start the show right now. And as we go, we will read your comments, guys. I see you guys. I see a lot of candy canes. Lisa Sullivan saying, hi, Kim. Hi, Lisa. So we see you. We love you. Let's start with, I feel like we need to talk about the fact that Bravo decided to start the reunion with the one-on-ones. I was shocked. I was not expecting that.
I wasn't expecting that either. Like the one-on-one straight out the gate. Like I almost thought that was going to be like a part 3, like we were kind of working up to that and that would be like the grand finale. But right out the gate, we see Tom, Raquel, and Ariana. And I don't know, Lisa and I discussed this already, but what were your guys' thoughts on the blazer?
Okay. I personally thought, well, two things. First, with what Eddie said, I was shocked that they started out with the one-on-ones, but I also wasn't because I think that production is trying to be more like cinematography and more like storytelling, like this is a movie within a movie, sort of like what they did with the finale, breaking a lot of the fourth wall. So from a storytelling perspective, I think the fact that they did the one-on-ones and then they were able to cut to it in the reunion was brilliant because that was how they were able to catch Sandoval and the lies about the timeline and everything he was saying. And also, I think it was really smart of them to shoot the one-on-ones prior to shooting the group because that way none of them could get their stories and lies straight. So they had to say what they had to say in the one-on-ones. So then they had that footage to cut back to either confirm the lie or deny the lie. And then the blazer, this might be, I'm going to have a lot of unpopular opinions today, just so you know. But I actually thought that was the best Raquel has ever looked. Because I'm not a
Yes.
Wow.
I'm not a big Rachel fan when it comes to her in general, but also not in her I don't know, outfits, but it's better than the weird crop and the weird underwear thong and the weird looking like a peacock. Like, she does a lot of questionable stuff, and I was like, okay, understated jewelry, blazer, finally something normal.
I'm gonna bring Caitlin to the stage because she has arrived. Hi, bestie.
Hi, besties. Hello. I'm so sorry I'm late. I literally got off of a plane just a little while ago. I was in LA and yeah, it was a fun time. Anyway, hi friends.
The Bravo
How are
hustle.
you?
The Bravo hustle does not stop.
Yeah, I did that Raising Cane's event with Ariana and a few others, and it was lots of fun. And then I hopped off this plane and we had crazy storms. So I'm here. That's what matters. And I am so excited to talk the reunion with y'all.
So we were talking about the blazer.
Oh my God.
We were first time with the blazer overall. I have an opinion on it. Lisa, I want you to give your point of view because I have an opinion, but I want to hear you first.
Who, me? Oh,
So,
Lisa.
who? Okay.
oh, sorry, Caitlin.
No.
So I thought it was very like when the attorney tells their guilty client, okay, when you come to court, you have to look, modest. You have to look demure. You have to look like you don't spend a lot of money. You want the jury to like you. So just like play it safe, be covered up. It was very like mistress professional. I don't know. I thought it was very strange.
Caitlin.
It was kind of like she was going to be taking her photos for the real estate bench that she's going to put her face on. And I don't know. It's like the color combo didn't even work for me. Here's the thing. We know she is a stupid demon and we don't like her. She is a very beautiful on the outside person. So it was kind of like, yeah, and I'm in total agreement. It's like her attorney, her PR, whoever it was saying, hey, listen, Rachel, we need you to look like you are covered up. They should have just gone ahead and put her in a turtleneck. Okay, let's call it what it is. That maybe put a habit on her. I don't know, but it didn't work.
That's exactly what I thought when I saw her on my screen wearing that blazer. I was like, this is not a Rachel choice. This is a PR movement. They told her, you know what? Play the innocent person in the courtroom. This is very, like, this is a fact. This is not like we're making stuff up. There is a game in law when you go to court that you want to look either very innocent, very fragile, so people kind of take your side. And they always tell women to look childlike, like baby dolls and stuff like that, like pastel colors and very cover up because you don't want to give the impression that you have kind of like this strong presence in the room. So I do believe that there was some kind of conversation where they were like, you know what, Rachel, for this sit down, let's play the demure version of you, the sad version, the kind of like the fall colors. It was very earthy, like that greenish. It wasn't even green. It was kind of like faded. And like,
It was weird. Sage.
Yeah.
Would you call that sage? It's like a
Sage.
bridesmaid's dress color.
But that's why she looked the best she's ever looked, because somebody else was dressing her.
yes. There was no
Yeah, I
feathers
guess
or
so.
ruffles.
There was
Well,
no ruffles
did
and
y'all notice-
stars and
Yeah,
glitter
right?
and sparkles.
I mean, I did y'all notice really like the evolution in her clothing throughout the season, how she went like now it's not as though she was dressing like the sweet little schoolgirl anymore, but it's as her affair with Tom starts that it's like if it were a character in a TV show, they would write that in that she is now wearing corsets. She's now wearing this outfit that looks like she has a thong hanging out. We never saw Raquel dressed this way before. It's It's
I know
Sandoval.
she was like the shy girl who couldn't even like give a speech to like her closest friends. She was the
Oh my
pageant girl.
God.
You had to be this kind of very straight-laced, like professional person. And yeah, that went downhill until this whole scandal and the crisis PR team kind of, made her pivot. But what did you guys think about that text message? The last text message that Ariana received from Raquel. Do you guys have thoughts on this? Eddie, what did you think?
Well, first off, for those who don't know, I grew up in Jersey, and I like a Jersey reference. There's nothing more satisfying and something that brings more joy to somebody from Jersey that calls somebody a rat. So when I saw that on the text, and then she blocked her after that, I was like, this is like master, like fuck you to her. Like she was like, you're a rat and you're blocked. Bye, bitch. Loved it. Loved it. It was definitely kind of the fact that little Rachel texted like 2 days with just like a like copy and paste type of text that you send to somebody when you kind of did something wrong. I know you literally fucked her boyfriend. Like this is not just like you ripped her dress and you're sorry. No, you literally make a huge damage in her life. So to me, the text that she sent was not very honest, not very there was no sense of like guilt or anything behind it. It was just a you know, very genetic. And I'm happy that Ariana didn't fall for it or like went into a long ass kind of like conversation with her when it's like a back and forth. She's like, I'm gonna say this, you're a rat and you're blocked. The end. What about you guys?
I agree, Eddie. The text she sent sort of sounded like chat AI. Like she Googled like what text to send when you've made an oopsie, and she just like copied and pasted and sent it in. And I think there's such a juxtaposition between the text she sent to Ariana with the text that got leaked that she had sent to Sandoval when she was trying to coax him into breaking up, being like, oh, you know, you can tell her what happened, but don't tell her the details, like us sleeping in the house. And then at the end, she goes, I love you. You got this. But I also think she was still being coached by Schwartz with that text. Because if you notice what she said, she was like, what you and Ariana have built, or she said some type of language that was very similar to the text that Schwartz had sent Ariana, his quote apology. You know, I didn't want what you guys have built together. And I'm paraphrasing, but it was
I noticed that too.
It was right. It was very similar language, and people always tell on themselves. So clearly she's being coached with these text messages. And I think that she's missing that. It lacked remorse and it lacked accountability and reflection. It was just like, I made an oopsie, sorry, my bad. And it's like,
And it was also 2 days late. Like, why does it take you 48 hours to respond?
Well,
Thank
I'll tell you why she had to Google.
copy and paste.
Rachel went on Google and she said, how many so's did you put in front of sorry when you fuck your best friend's boyfriend for 7 months? That's what was taking her so long. She just was trying to determine how many so's. She came up with 3.
Like she's
So
trying to
sorry.
You know how guys play that really old school tactic of like wait 3 days after the first date to send a text to look kind of interested but not that really that interested, but it's like I'm trying just to like feel it out. That's how also I felt about that text. I'm like, no bitch, this is not your first date. This is not you trying to feel somebody out. You fucked up. You gotta own up to it. Have some kind of like decency. And I kind of hate when people said like, oh, but she's so young. I'm like, no, she's almost 30.
Young.
She's not a high school
She's not that
girl.
young.
She's almost 30.
Yeah. And I have a teenage niece, and she knows that this is wrong. So I don't think there's an age cap. Like even a toddler knows you don't take somebody else's toy, screw it over, throw it in the street, and then hold your hand for 7 months pretending like you didn't destroy somebody's toy. Like toddlers know better than this. Come on. Yeah.
Yeah, I
You know
mean,
what
James kind of gets a pass when him and Tom were going at it and they were getting into it. And, you know, it was like, this was the physical altercation that we had been hearing about for months. And, you know, Tom starts saying like, well, you did the same thing. Like, you're an opportunist. You got on the, like, you effed Kristen to get on the show. And James is like, I was 21 years old. And it's like, that's young. Like, yeah,
It
we do
is.
some stupid shit when we're 21, you know, and like that kind of behavior, like gets a little bit of a pass, I think.
Yes.
But yeah, she's 28. Like you should know better.
Yeah, and there's
And-
levels. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say no. Go ahead, because I wanted to share a message that I'm like dying. I keep looking at it. I'm dying. It's from Natasha, and she said like, I did think of Jersey when I saw Rat. That's one, but
Sorry,
then
called
she
Rat.
posted one before. She said she wore pageant casual wear, and I'm dying. I
Yeah,
kept
I'm a
looking, I was
former
like, I need
pageant
to
girl,
share
so
this.
she's right. It is pageant casual wear. I can confirm.
God,
I love it.
I just needed to share that with everybody because that's hysterical.
It's really Tina Toski. She's a candy cane. Love my candy canes. So, but I agree. And there's also like levels to it, right? Like at the reunion, Andy's like, "Oh, well, like nobody's hands are clean except for Vanderpump and Katie's, and isn't this so hypocritical?" And I'm like, everybody, we need to look up the word hypocritical and define it because this is not the case. Like, there's levels and stages to this. Nobody on that cast, even let's throw in Jax, not even Jax, has done a 7-month plus, because I think that they were probably together for, I think since Coachella 2022, but let's
Same.
just say 7 months, whatever lie they want to put out there. No one has systematically lied behind everybody's back, production to a certain extent, all of the cast members to Lisa Vanderpump for months upon months upon months upon months. Like that hasn't happened. Nobody in the cast have done that. Sure, they've been young, they've been drunk, had sex, made out to drive, and Kristen and James, but like, come on, there's like different levels to it. It's very nuanced. It's very different. And nobody has done that level of lying, deception, and depravity. Also, what's very different, I think, is that Sandoval, and this is why I think Lala has so much smoke for him, and I think she has the correct level, because I would have a lot if I was her, is Sandoval also has been since day one so sanctimonious and so self-righteous, and so judgy. You're a mistress, you're a bimbo, you do blowjobs for Range Rovers, you do this. Jax is horrible, Jax is this, but I'm so great. I'm Captain Save-A-Ho. I'm amazing. I'm this, that, and the great. I'm up here, and all of you guys are down here. And then the gag is he turns out to be the biggest snake of them all. So that's why it's not hypocrisy, because there's different levels to betrayal and lying and cheating. Not that I'm saying that it's right, but there's different levels to life here, and it's not hypocrisy.
I was gonna say that too. I feel like when it comes down to Sandoval, that is the main reason why this whole thing kind of like exploded. Because I had said it before, people keep saying, "Oh, you gotta thank Sandoval and Rachel for the success of the show and how the scandal got to this point." I was like, no, this is not about them. This is the fact that Ariana was the one who got cheated on by the person who was this perfect partner or whatever. Because you're right, Sandoval always had this hide and dog mentality, And even during the season, like this season, when he was yelling at Katie, accountability, Katie. And I'm like, bitch, you were already fucking Rachel. You have no right to be calling people for accountability when you can even own up to your own mistake without weaponizing Ariana's mental health, losing her grandma, losing her pet. I mean, he used every excuse on the freaking planet to like kind of like make himself feel better for ruining his own life.
To deflect from his own accountability.
Yes.
Yeah. And I mean, he keeps bringing these things up, and Ariana's just like, that's not true. That's not true. Like everything he says is a lie. He is a pathological liar. We heard in the Call Her Daddy interview that, he didn't try to break up with her, and, they were really trying to work on things. She was changing himself, and he keeps saying he was unhappy. And it's just like, you need to stop making excuses. And, Ariana says it best. She's like, the lack of intimacy isn't a real reason. You either work on it or you break up. There are two options, and cheating with my best friend for 7 months is not one of those options. He chose to like just blow it all up instead of being like just a decent human.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think of, because I'm seeing it in the chat as well, of LVP and how she kind of seem to take up for Sandoval?
You know, I'm just going to jump in here. Lisa is part of what she's starting to learn and that we're seeing is happening is we are starting to see Beverly Hills Lisa come out with this cast because she is just now starting to clock and you watch it happening. And I love LVP. And so I was disappointed. This isn't what I expected from her, but she's just now starting to learn they are grown up. They are not the kids working in her restaurant anymore. They are making their own decisions. We can't just say, oh, you know, so many people do this all the time in life. No, Lisa, that is your business partner who is given a bad look for your business decisions, and you make good business decisions. So this was not, defending him is not right. I know you want to defend your business. Defend your business. Don't defend your business partner.
That part.
So, you know, when she's going after Lala with it too, it was kind of like, why are you focused on Lala, who clearly is triggered as hell by all of this, who has been through it and back, and Lala is there standing up, calling him out. You know, it just, I love Lisa, but this was not the look. We're seeing that Lisa that is, you know, playing chess with Bobby Fischer a bit now because she's kind of realizing she's not in the same depth because it's not the same what, you know, the women that are her age and have this type of success. This is a different group. They are quicker, faster. I mean, Housewives ain't got nothing on Lala and James together, right?
No.
Like I mean, it's like a tennis match. You're back and forth. So it was a lot for her, and she just kept choosing the wrong team, and you could see that she noticed she was, and then she'd randomly throw in something to defend maybe one of the girls or just like make a positive remark, and it just wasn't the Lisa that I feel like we expect personally.
I agree 100%. I was first disappointed and then secondly very confused because Lisa is a good businesswoman and she's usually a better chess player than this because right now her slip is all the way showing. And I love Lisa Vanderpump. I'm team LVP all day long. Love her, love her, love her, love her. But I have to call a thing. And I think that my little conspiracy theory is I think that Lisa Vanderpump and Tom Sandoval had a timeout conversation before the reunion started on how they were going to play it. Because it's very clear that Lisa came in with the intention to defend Tom. And it's very clear that Tom came in with the intention of letting Lisa lead. And then he would chime in at certain points after she said something to defend him. So I think they've already had the little side conversation about how they were going to play the reunion. And then I was also disappointed because it's one thing for her to, Tom Sandoval, we get it, scumbag, narcissist, cheater, sure. But he's still a human being. And I understand wanting to support or just be someone that he can have a sounding board against. Totally fine. But what made me disappointed in Lisa is you can support Tom, but you don't have to do it to the detriment of the other cast. Like you don't have to cut Lala off and call her out, tell her to calm down, yell at her, tell James that like, you're not important right now. Ariana's the one who's important. I thought that was a very inappropriate, distasteful comment to make on James. Like James is a human being and he has every right to be upset. He was engaged to this girl. You know, Sandoval was acting like he was her best friend, gave him $12,000 for the frickin' engagement. Like, come on. I think James is like the unsung victim in all of this, you know? So he had every right to be mad and to be in his feelings and to want to push back. And I get Ariana is going through it and I'm team Ariana. My heart goes out to her, but my heart also goes out to James. And I thought it was very callous for her to say that to him. So sure, LVP, you can support Sandoval. That's fine. We're all adults. You can support who you want to, but not to the detriment and the belittling and the dismissal of the other castmates who have every right to be pissed off. And why I was confused is I did at first think, oh, well, you know, Tom and Tom have equity in Tom and all of that stuff. But then it turned out she's already given them back the $50,000 each. So what equity?
So now there's 0% owners.
0%. So I'm super confused unless they have some like shady contract where it's like, if you pay back by X amount, then you get % back. But at this point in time, they've already gotten their equity out.
Well, I think it's more about equity. I mean, their names are on the building. They are the faces of the business. I mean, there is no getting over that. This is not some random Tom and some other random Tom's, you know, shithole bar. Shithole is, I'm using that lightly. But I mean, it is Tom and Tom. They are the face, they are the brand. She is connected to them, whether they have money invested or not. So I think that she has an ulterior motive here to try to, make the public and make the people maybe see the other side. Like she is going hard. And as much as I think she wants to support them, she is also playing this devil's advocate character just so there are people seeing the other side of it. Yep. And to not potentially, hurt her business, which, Pump's gone down the drain. SUR, isn't the most happening place in town anymore. So TomTom is what was, really thriving. And I think that, while this has brought a lot of attention and eyes to it, it's also like, who wants to support them anymore, honestly?
Mhm.
Well, and that's
that part too.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is too, and I get your point, Candy, that yes, he's a human being, and there is a certain point where we don't want to just drill people into the ground, but he does himself zero favors when there is nothing genuine about any apology he gives. He is not truly contrite when he comes in there. He's still yelling back at people, trying to bring up Kristen Doty and James. How old is James now? James is at least 28, 29. So James, how many years ago?
30 at least.
Yeah, he has there's no contrition there's not a genuine bone in Tom's body. That's why he didn't make it as an actor. And this is someone who was an actor who didn't make it as an actor. So I'm not being a hypocrite here. My point is he doesn't know how to feel genuine emotion that is not about himself. So Eddie's like, Caitlin is going off, but the way he just walked in and the way he was almost like, he was like a little kid who was mad he got caught, but didn't feel bad about it. And that was it. It was just, his attitude was horrible. And not horrible. It was deplorable. Ariana knows more words than I do that she could use much better. But my point being is it was disgusting. And he did not come in with the right, head should have been down. You should have been sobbing from the get-go. Okay, where's that breakdown at least?
Well, he tried.
That's what you should have
tried, Caitlin.
Okay, I'm going to tell you
again, this
tears.
is why his acting career did not take off, because those tears were
he needed to stare off in the distance without blinking for a little bit longer. That was the trick they would tell us, and he didn't stare long enough. You never see the tears come out of his eyes. You notice that, right? And when they do, he lets them fall down his face. That's what actors do. Normal people, you're like, oh my God, let me get it off my face. No, he's like, did it drip down? Did it plop? Did I get a little plop there?
It's giving Lisa Rinna, the single tear.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
But Rinna has it down. Rinna's a pro. So let's,
She shows up hydrated and ready to cry, honey.
No, you know what? When you guys were talking about TomTom, that's the only reason why I understand Lisa's perspective. Mm-hmm. But there was no need to try to shut down the other cast members when they were trying to make an actual valid point. You don't try to do that. If you try to save your business, just talk about it. Be like, hey, you know what? Yes, you guys fucked up, but you know what? You guys can move on with your businesses and all this stuff. But when the other ones are saying, you are a piece of shit because you fucked, Rachel, when Rachel was James' ex-fiance, they just broke up. You paid for his engagement party, which I still find very weird. I mean, I know they're friends, but why would he
Oh, I know why.
For a thousands of dollar engagement, and now he is doing Rachel. And once again, Caitlin said, James is part of the problem, and he has his right to feel that way because he was directly involved with the mistress in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
Directly, literally engaged.
He's gonna marry her.
Yeah.
It's and I do also wholeheartedly agree with what Katie was saying, that it was when Lisa dismissed him and saying that this isn't about you. Actually, it's mostly about Ariana and James. Why wouldn't, just because James isn't with her anymore and doesn't feel that way about her anymore, They were not even broken up very long. Yes, he moved on with Allie quickly, and I like Allie a lot. I think she's perfect for him, and I think she's very grounded in a sea of not, they're floating out there. But I mean, they were only broken up like 6 weeks when he started dating her, so of course his feelings are going to be fresh.
Yeah, and also I think when it comes to James and Sandoval, like I understand why Sandoval gave James, I think it was like 12,000 or 12.5, let's just say 12K. Not that I agree with it, but I understand it from the sense of Sandoval is a narcissist. He's egotistical. He is attention seeking. He is always the person that has to be a savior or a victim. Those are the two roles he operates in. And so I think that when James came on the scene and James was younger, hotter, more talented musically than he was, and then he had the audacity to have sex with Kristen, even though Tom Sandoval didn't want Kristen. Again, he's like a child. I don't want this toy, but I don't want you to have this toy either, right? I don't think he ever got over that. And then he exposed that motive at the reunion. You slept with Kristen, blah, blah, blah. What, 9 years ago? Season 2? Like, stop. Who cares, right?
Right.
I don't think he ever got over that. And so I think that Sandoval...
Or the condoms.
With my condoms.
God, how many times do we have to hear about the stupid ass condoms?
Exactly. His narcissism and his ego and his attention seeking would not let him let that go. And I think that it could have been insert any girl. It could have been Raquel. It could have been Jane Doe. Whoever James was with, I think Sandoval got a kick out of knowing that he got the girl that James was with and James wanted it. And James, I love James, but he's a little immature. And I think if he had a little bit more maturity, he would know Tom is actually taking a piss. It's very emasculating, if you really think about it, for another man to pay for another man to propose to the woman he wants to marry. That's very, very emasculating from a psychological perspective, right? Because when you are proposing to your wife or your future wife, it's supposed to be like, I'm here to take care of you. I'm going to be the man. We're going to start our lives together. This is a new chapter. And to have another man take that credit, that attention to hold it over his head is very emasculating and very, very like covert, like narcissistic for him. Because now he can always have that. Well, I paid for this. I had the money. And I think it was always to get back at James because his ego never prepared from what James did. And Jax Taylor even said it because Jax said he had given Tom back. He had gotten some like sword like signed by some like comedian actor guy that Jax was really into or whatever. And Jax was like, yeah, I left it on Sandoval's doorstep because I don't want to owe him anything because this is what Tom does. He goes above and beyond only to come back and say, well, look at everything I did for you. It goes back
and hold it over you.
Yeah. No, Candy, you're blowing my mind with the engagement because you are so right. And I feel like it makes so much sense now because, I feel like it was doomed from the start. The second that Sandoval put $1 into that engagement, Raquel's mind flipped and a light bulb went off and she's like, whoa, okay, this is a red flag. James can't do this, but Sandoval does. And I didn't believe the rumors about, this starting way back then. And I still don't think there was an affair going on, but maybe it was sort of an emotional affair or some sort of attachment to Sandoval ever since that point.
It was
attractive to her.
It's like those little nuggets, like, well, I'm getting the restaurant. Oh, I'm this, I'm that. I paid for this. This is what I am. Isn't James so horrible? James treats you really bad. James is a drunk. James doesn't have any money. James a wannabe DJ. It's that psychological grooming process till you get to the point where you're like, yes, Sandoval, you're amazing and I'll do whatever you want. It's like that grooming process because you don't just wake up and say, let me have this affair. It happens very gradually until one day you're looking like Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs Raquel, who doesn't have a single brain cell in there, So I think it was a grooming process. And I don't even think it had anything to do with Raquel herself. I think it could have been any girl that James was with who was willing to take the bait Sandoval would have done it with in order to stick it to James.
You know what? And thinking about that too, it kind of makes sense that I feel like in that moment Raquel started to see who to go for to also have some prime time on the show. Because when you get on reality TV, you want to be the it person in the show. I don't care what anyone says. If you get on reality television, it's because you want attention. And especially in such a young age. I mean, the way that Rachel, made her way into the show, being a fan, find the weakest link, which is James, because he likes to love. I mean, that guy likes the idea of being in love, which can be sometimes terrifying because you don't actually fall in love with a person, you fall in love with the idea of being in love with a person.
Yep.
So I now that you mentioned that, I do believe that she started to see, okay, James is not the guy that I can be with to have this place on the show. Let's look somewhere else. Sandoval was, but she knew that he was with Ariana. So she started, okay, Peter now. And she's like, poor Peter, he's never going to be the wife. He's always going to be the bridesmaid
Peter,
of the show.
always a bridesmaid. Exactly. Always a bridesmaid.
Always a
never
show
bride.
pony, never a horse.
So yeah,
Starting
she went
pony.
for him. Then obviously Sandoval, but she couldn't face the moment, so she went for Swords, which by the way, he's also one of the guys that if she got with, she would have the attention she wanted because Tom, when you think about the Toms, you don't think about Tom Sandoval and Tom Swords. You think about them together. For some reason, you cannot talk about the Toms without talking about them as an unity. So I do believe that in her reality TV star mind, she started to like clock all these little eggs and stuff around the show and make her way up without realizing the consequences that will bring to her at the end of the day. Because now whatever plan she had is hanging by a thread.
And it's also the same way that Tom was able to groom Ariana. You know, they talk about the similarities between the way he treated her with the whole Kristen thing. She was also groomed. Look at how she talked. She's like, well, he would coach. Like, she literally finally was honest last night and said, yeah, he would coach me on what to say. So we would get our stories together because, like Shorts said, Ariana and Tom Sandoval had a pact to never make themselves look bad on TV. Tom Shorts said that, and then last night Ariana confirmed it, that he would coach her so they'd have their stories together to how they wanted to have this united front of what the relationship was. Lala said it. She was on a podcast. They said, who's the most different on screen and off screen? She said, Tom and Ariana. There's a lot going on in their relationship that they don't show. Jack said the same exact thing. And I think Ariana, in her mind, you know, like a lot of us do, thought, you know, well, I'm just doing what my boyfriend wants. I'm doing what the guy that I love wants. And I'm, you know, this is what he wants and this will be okay. And I'm showing up for him and, you know, whatever it is. But if you continuously have to lie and be coached and cover up, then you start to lose your grasp on your own reality. And that's also where the gaslighting comes in, you know, where it's like, well, is what I'm thinking true? Is my reality true? And that's why he's able to gaslight her and have her basically, you know, be his patsy for the last 9 years, covering up for who he truly is and how he was truly treating her in the relationship. And on the Call Her Daddy podcast, you know, Alex Cooper had a very poignant question, which I wanted the answer to. She goes, yeah, well, you know, you've covered up for Tom for years. And she was like, were you covering up for him? Or were you also covering up because you didn't want to be the girl who was with him? And I think that's true as human beings. And this is no slight to Ariana, because I'm team Ariana 100%. And I totally get it. I think we all have been there as human beings. You also want to protect your own ego. And you want to protect your own image, and you want to protect your own idea of what your relationship is. You know, you want to not have people think, well, wow, you're the girl who's staying with the guy who's clearly cheating on you. You're the girl who's lying for the guy who's out at 4 o'clock in the morning. You're the girl who stayed with Tom after Miami Girl. You're the girl that's staying with Tom after blah, 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 blah. And I think that's a very normal and natural human response. You want to protect the image that you have of your relationship. You want to protect your partner, and you also want to protect yourself, because it's a part of self-preservation. It can be really hurtful and really hard to take an honest look of, how is this person actually treating me in this relationship? Am I actually happy? How are they showing up? What is the truth? What is the authenticity of who we are? And do I have the courage to actually show it? That's a very hard place to be. So my heart goes out to her. She's been groomed from day one, just the way he's groomed everybody else.
Lisa, I have a question for you. Now that we're talking about the grooming part coming from Sandoval, do you think that he used the same tactics to manipulate his best friend Swords to get involved into this whole mess of the Scandoval? Because it seems like most people, especially on the cast, believe that he used Swords as a wall to protect himself, and the wall just fell and it was exposed. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's done that with Schwartz this whole time. Schwartz, unless it's his own wife partner, he tends to root for the underdog, and Tom Sandoval knows how to appeal to two sides of Tom Schwartz, which is one, by playing the victim and, really making him feel sorry for him. And because Schwartz tends to kind of fall into that himself. He gives the puppy dog eyes, but y'all don't get it twisted. Schwartz is also a very emotionally abusive person with a very specific formula for how he does it. And if you want to see, so that I won't take up too much time here, go on my TikTok. I have a full video on it with clips. I mean, it is wild when you see the Schwartz formula, that I call it, because it's so particular. He tried it on Lala, and guess what? Lala wasn't the one, and I loved to see it. Now, Schwartz can really, when Schwartz gets what he needs from Sandoval, is that type of validation constantly. That's like, because Sandoval views himself as this grand, most extra person. And so he wants to make people feel as though they are blessed by his presence, is the way I take it. And so he makes Schwartz feel as though he is special just because he loves him so much. And so that's where he confides in him and tells him everything. And then when Schwartz, realizes, he's just now realizing, you can tell, like, he's just now getting it, that, I might have been played. And I'll tell you where you notice he really clocked it and went ahead and abandoned ship were two moments here. One, that it was kind of hysterical, when they were talking about the graffiti on the bathroom walls. My friend Tessa, who's at Your Favorite Ex-Girlfriend, I was with her this today, she was cracking up because Schwartz says, on the other mirror where it said, like, fuck Tom, that Tom, not me. And then when he went ahead and exposed the timeline, because he said, you texted me, I have the text message. And so you're going to confide in your best friend that you cheated on your partner with one of her best friends in a text message. That's how much that moment meant to you. I'll text my best friend I have best friends, I'll text all sorts of things. Something like that. No, bitch, I gotta call you. I need a bottle of wine.
Lisa?
Make it two.
Yeah, the whole timeline thing was just hilarious, because it's like, you guys have had so long to get your stories straight, and they're still not matching up. And that's why I also loved the one-on-ones, because they played it smart. They did the one-on-one interrogation, like just like detectives do. It's like, when there's multiple people involved in the crime, separate them, get their individual stories, and see how they match up. And they did not match up. And Sandoval, you could see the look in his face when he was like, August, like, what? And Schwartz is like, yeah, man, like, it was in August.
It's just like, so funny. I remember when they were on Watch What Happens Live, the look that Tom Sandoval, do you remember that night, which we all know infamously, Rachel, excuse me, how dare I, was in the hotel room. And I remember I was taking pictures of my TV going, what is up Sandoval's ass that he is looking at Schwartz like that? And I even tweeted out the photos of it. And we didn't know then. That is that exact look that he is giving him at this time, whenever Andy was asking Schwartz in that moment on Watch What Happens Live about being faithful to Katie. And you can see it's that look like, dude, you better fucking not say anything, man, dude. And he's giving him that look, and he did side by side. It's the same. He gives it away. Like, he looks down, like, what angle was that? Yeah. He looks off to the left and down when he lies.
Yeah.
Totally. Oh yeah. I mean, at least it's a little better than Schwartz's, like, you know, like
Face
hands all
touching.
over the face. Like, oh, like there is not a moment. I feel like Schwartz 95% of the time has hands on his face, except at the
Yeah.
reunion. I think he was telling his truth. He
Yeah.
had a story. He was ready to share it. And somehow he didn't align with Sandoval. I don't know how that happened, but it's almost like he came, he had his note cards. This was like his redemption time. He was ready to clear his name. He was ready to not be involved in this. And he was just going to put it all out there. And I don't know. We'll see in part 2 and part 3 if that continues. But, you know, it seems like, you know, as shitty as Schwartz has been, and I still don't condone him covering it up or whatever, at least he's being honest now.
Now,
And like,
yeah.
and
You
like
know,
you said, like, no, I just want to say, like you said, Kim, I also feel like this time you can see all three, I say three because they're three, Swords personalities. His real one, when he actually started talking about this whole Scandoval thing from his perspective, then didn't match with Swords. The puppy dog that annoys the fuck out of me because he got away with it for too long, and like he knows how to play that. Like when what's it called? Jane was like Tweety D and Twiddle Little Dick, and he's like, "Am I Twiddle Dick?" And Katie literally rolled
made me
her
laugh.
eyes, literally. She's like she probably was like, "And I was married to this asshole, like for real." So, and then you have the angry one. That is the one that was defending Joe. He's been fucking for like a month, more than he defended Katie this whole entire freaking series. It was insane. He got so mad that he threatened Katie with a cease and desist right on the show, and he has never done anything like that for his own
Never.
ex-wife. For
Preach.
the whole, you know. So those to me are the three personalities that he showcased, and that's why I'm like, yeah, I'm happy that they had those footages from the one-on-one, because this whole Tom Fakey is falling apart because once again I do believe the Sandoval is the smarter person in the duo, and he takes advantage of his own best friend.
Yeah.
when it comes to Tom and Tom, I think two things. One, I think that Tom Schwartz and Tom Sandoval, I actually think their love story, their bromance, has been the true love story of Vanderpump Rules. Like they've been the number one couple. If
You're
you
so
really
right.
think about it,
The
the
long-standing one.
love story of Vanderpump Rules, not Stassi and Jax, not Tom and Ariana. It's been Tom Schwartz and Tom Sandoval. It's literally called Tom Tom. It's been their bromance. But the reason why I think their bromance is crumbling, and why, like, to Kim's point, you know, Schwartz is finally telling the truth and he was being more authentic and sticking it, is because I think for the first time for Schwartz, the stakes are too high that actually affect him. Because I think Schwartz and Sandoval are two sides of the same coin. I think they're both very narcissistic. I just think that Tom Sandoval is overt and Tom Schwartz is covert. He likes to do what he wants and then be like, Sandoval made me do it. I know what you're talking about, like all like wimpy. And it's just like, no, you make the choices you want to make, but you don't want any accountability or to be like held to the fire for it. So you say, well, it wasn't me, it was this person. But you're an adult, you make your own choices. So he's very good at playing that like goofball. And prior to Scandoval, he's never had any consequences other than Katie being mean to him. You know, when he does his stuff, Lisa Vanderpump has always coddled Tom and Tom. We've seen that time and time. I love LVP, but hello, she coddles them. So anything that he's done, the only consequence he's ever had is Katie being mad. A rage text from Katie, as we all know, he doesn't care about. And I have a different take on why he defended Joe. I don't think it was because he wanted to defend Joe. I think it was because he wanted to hurt Katie.
Yeah.
You know, like Joe wasn't the point of it. It was, I'm going to hurt Katie, because he's not even with Joe anymore. He kicked her out of the apartment and she's off doing whatever the hell she's doing. So they're not even with her anymore.
Well,
I think it's like, this is how I'm going to hurt Katie by saying this about Joe. And I think with Schwartz, like, my heart does go out to him a little bit too, because he has so much going on in his own life. Like, his father's really sick, in and out of the hospital. One of his brothers, I think, had cancer. Somebody in his family had cancer. The three of his brothers struggle with alcoholism. You know, his family wasn't doing well health-wise. And then he got divorced. He lost his house. He's losing all of his money. He's like, we're going to go with bankruptcy and all of this stuff. So I think for the very first time, even though he's like 40-something, he actually was like, wait a minute, doing this little, Patsy Tom routine, I'm having real life consequences that actually affect me. And I think that's why we're seeing the division between Tom and Tom. Because for the very first time, he's like, wait a minute, I'm actually going to have to pay for some of the stuff I've done. And I'm not going to cover for you anymore because now the stakes are too high in my life.
Well, yeah, and to your point, you're right. He was trying to stick something to Katie. So, like, very briefly, that Schwartz formula, you're never gonna unsee it now. It's 3 steps. It's 3. The first thing he does is you can see when he starts poking. So, like, best example, whenever they were in Mexico, and his bitch ass came over and picked up a piece of the sushi roll and popped it in his mouth, taunting her. I would have slapped that sushi out of his hand. Thank you very much. That's the first step. So he starts gassing her up. He did it to Lala, saying, "Oh yeah, who is give them Lala? You're not even, you're a mistress and a go blow your lips up like another housewife or something like that, right?" So he starts gassing them up until they are so mad that then he will sit there. He'll chill, lay back, and kind of just like he was eating those wings. Like, oh gosh, why are you so mad? Jeez. Yeah. And then he goes in and he will say something so just deep and hurtful. That's when he said, for example, to Lala, "Yeah, you're a great mom." And that's when she was like, "Oh, I'm done, motherfucker." And so what happens next is once he has gone too far, and he did it with Katie when they were in Mexico, when she's like, "I just want you to talk to me." And he says, "The problem is I don't like the sound of your voice." Remember that he goes just for the jugular. And then when she is good and mad, she will either shut down, which is usually what Katie did. And the reason Katie would, and I hate how every time Katie's upset and texts someone about it, it's a rage text. She's allowed to be an angry woman. And she's allowed to express herself through a text message or an email, write a letter, whatever you want to do. We'll save the letter writing for Rachel, apparently. But then what happens is if she doesn't shut down, she walks away, right? And then that's when Schwartz goes, "Oh no, come back, Bubba, come back." No. He did it to Katie in the alleyway the week before last, or whatever, the pre-finale, and he did it to Lala whenever she walked off. "Oh no, come on, Lala, come back." He probably almost called her Bubba. So it's like that's what he has his formula that he sticks to. And my last point is Schwartz. No, he is not the smart one because we know that man loves a word of the day calendar. Him looking at Katie and calling her glib reminded surely of another Tom who was jumping on a couch. And guess what? Sandoval's been acting like that himself. Sandoval's been his own Tom Cruise. They cannot stop with the whole Tom stratosphere. Okay, thank you.
Never trust a Tom.
Never trust a Tom. Words to live by. That's for sure. I mean, it's to me, it's crazy that especially when Tom and Tom are trying to cover each other's ass, is that during the reunion for the very first time, they can't make it right. They don't know what they're doing. I mean, once again, if you're going to, coach somebody, make sure that they get the dates right. Make sure that they get the month right. And it goes back like we were saying before. I do feel like this, Scandoval started from Coachella, allegedly. But the fact that it was happening in August, that's when he told Swartz about it, and Swartz like nonchalant is talking about it, and my heart is breaking for Ariana because she said like, yeah, that's when Charlotte passed. Her body wasn't even cold yet. You know how hurtful that was. I mean, at that moment I'm like, dude, like, stop talking. At that point, if even if I'm trying to make a point, I would have stopped talking my nonsense because that is true. Poor Ariana was going through the harder part of her life, going through like the loss of Charlotte and then her grandma. That is insane. So for these two buffoons to be making this like story, trying to cover it up and everything, and not really like saying like, you know what, you should just tell her. That's the part that I'm like, Swords as a best friend, like I understand the bro code. I have a lot of friends that are good friend of mine, straight gay. We have a bro code. It is real. People think that that's not real. It is very real.
Oh, honey, we know it's real.
But also, I mean, Swords was supposed to be also Ariana's friend. I mean,
Right.
You know, that was his groomswoman. I don't know how to, you know,
Yeah.
that's,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
yeah. So it was somebody he was supposed to look after too, above his friendship with Sandoval too as well. So the fact that he didn't do right by her, to me, it's so disgusting. And seeing them kind of struggling to put in the story together in some kind of level brought me satisfaction, because there's nothing better than exposing a liar.
I have an unpopular opinion on this though. Like I actually don't think that Tom Schwartz was obligated to tell Ariana that Tom was cheating, because I think a lot of times, you shoot the messenger. People don't want to hear it. If you go to someone saying this person is cheating, all of a sudden now you become the enemy. You're lying. You're jealous. I don't believe you. The way we saw it happen with Lala and Katie and Sheena and everybody else.
She
And I
would have
think a
believed
lot of
Schwartz.
times,
If Schwartz were
maybe.
coming to her, she would have believed it. That's a fair
I
point.
don't
But if
know.
it's Schwartz,
I don't know. Maybe not. But I think that I just don't think that Schwartz was obligated to tell her. I don't, because I think that he had a lot going on in his own life, and you can't always take on everybody's problems, everybody's stuff, and insert yourself into it. However, where I think Schwartz actually messed up, and where I do think he had the obligation, was not that he necessarily had to tell Ariana, because as adults, I don't think he had to. But I think he messed up when he participated in the cover-up.
Mhm.
The double dates,
That
like
part.
with him and
Yeah.
Joe.
The double dates.
The double dates, like when him and Joe, Rachel and Sandoval going to Big Bear and skiing and drinking and the jacuzzis and taking the shots and the dinners and the photos and all hanging out. Oh, we're at Schwartz's, we're doing shrooms and doing this. For months, they were going on these double dates. And I don't believe Schwartz. He's lying. He knew what was going on when he kissed Raquel in Mexico. That's why it was so weird and forced and awkward. I think he's known way longer than August. I think that was also a lie. That is where I think Schwartz actually made the mistake. It's one thing to say, you know what, you are two adults. I love you and I love you. This is your relationship, and I'm going to create a healthy boundary and I'm going to stay out of it. I'm going to support you and I love you. You guys can figure it out. You're adults. This is your relationship. But for him to step in and actively participate in the deflection and the cover up, that is where I'm like, Schwartz, you're trash and you're garbage. Because that is totally crossing a line, and it's so disrespectful. And that's where I think he has an obligation not to participate in it. But I'm not saying, total trash. Like
Galaxy lights.
Because like in my real life, if I have two
Trash can.
friends that I'm really close
Oh,
to,
trash can.
trash can, and I know that
It's a
one is
cute one.
cheating, that might be a really hard position to be in when, like Schwartz, I'm going into bankruptcy, I'm getting a divorce, I'm losing my house, my father is in the hospital, my 3 triplet brothers are all suffering from alcoholism, I'm not healthy, I'm fat, and not fat in a derogatory way, but like I'm drinking and doing all this stuff. Schwartz had a lot in his own life too. And it's like, save yourself first. He can't save Tom Sandoval, and he can't save Ariana either. But he
No,
Agreed,
but I agree. Like
doing
I
it.
just want to introduce our guest. Tom Swords has joined us right now.
Tom
Do
Schwartz.
you have anything to say, Swords? No? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if your friend comes to you and they're like, I messed up, I hooked up with someone, but it's never going to happen again. Like, I love Ariana, it was just like a one-time thing. I agree. I don't think Schwartz was obligated to go to Ariana with that.
Yep.
But once he knew that this was a relationship, that they are going on double dates, that they're going on trips, you have to say, dude, either you tell her by this date or I will.
or I
Like,
will. That's it.
This
right
is
there.
not right. It doesn't sit right with me. And I still want to get to the bottom of what happened in Big Bear, because Schwartz kept trying to say, Tom, tell them, what really happened. And everyone was just yelling. And so we never really got like the answer to that. But to me, it just seems like the girls probably just showed up, and it was like crashed their boys' weekend, but like they probably didn't mind. And so like that's a problem. And he owed Ariana more than that.
And like you're right, like I mean, the girls definitely either crashed the thing or maybe Sandoval low key invited them without telling everybody else, so they showed up because I do feel like I mean I don't put it past Rachel to just show up uninvited because she seemed the kind of the fan stalkerish behavior. So I don't put that past from her to do that. But at the same time, it was too on the nose to be a coincidence to be just there. Also, Ariana said herself, she's like, if there was going to be girls, why wasn't I invited? So the moment that Rachel and the other girls showed up, a good boyfriend was like, hey, you know what? There's girls here. Just come up. Just come and hang out.
Yeah.
We're having a good time. No, he stayed quiet. So he knew exactly what he was doing. I mean,
It was a couples retreat.
there you go. Thank you.
100.
Yeah, and
Oh, yeah.
and Ariana has talked about like how Tom was putting things on other people's credit cards, and you know that other person was Tom Schwartz. Like obviously,
Exactly.
Tom Schwartz has thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of Raquel and Tom affair,
Yep.
you know, guilt
And maybe his
on his credit
assistant,
card
who
statement.
knows?
I am sure of it.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
And did you guys see the leaked photos, the photos of how they did a double date, Tom, Joe, and Rachel, right before they filmed the Something About Her event? Like the
Yes.
Yes.
audacity of it all. And that's what I'm talking about. That's where I'm like, Shorts, you're trash for that. You're trash for it. I could give you the benefit of the doubt if you're like, dude, you're doing what you're doing. I love you both. I got my own plate full. But the fact that he participated for months and months and months, that's what I'm like, dude, you crossed the line. That's
And
where
then they show up with flowers. They have the audacity to show up with
With the
flowers for
flowers?
Katie and
Yes.
Ariana. Like
And that's
sick.
And that's why, because once I saw that came out, I was like, oh, now I understand why Rachel was so wound up. Sandoval put a battery in her back, recorded every single thing he ever wanted to say to Katie, recorded everything he wanted to say to Ariana, wound her up, sent her in there to go off, because I think every single thing she said to Katie was nothing but her regurgitating what Tom said.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I have more empathy for Schwartz. You are the one who divorced him. Why do you care? Don't text him about the dogs. What? Why? And where in the hell would Raquel even think of that?
Well, the audacity of her to say that when she wouldn't even let James see Graham, like, really, bitch?
that part. And then I also think it was the same when she had that cringe, hindsight 2020 conversation with Ariana. She was regurgitating everything Tom Sandoval told her. Wouldn't you want, when she almost like combusted, wouldn't you want to have sex with him, like with your partner? And she's like rolling her eyes. She's like, well, I know when, like, for me and James, like 2 years in, and like I knew I should end it then. Like, you really want to go through this? But didn't you tell me you guys aren't having sex? Creating the narrative that Ariana was, I think Sandoval is so diabolical. I think he wanted it on tape, on camera, with an actual receipt of Ariana saying to anybody, but maybe even Rachel, that she wasn't sexually attracted to him anymore, that she, kind of wanted out of the relationship, or that there were cracks showing. The only problem with that is that Tom Sandoval forgot to tell Ariana to stop saying the script that we have been saying for the last 9 years. So she was still on script. She was still, this is my man. We have this united front. This is what we're saying to everybody. Ariana was still on script. No, we're good. We're going to talk through it. It's fine. I love him. He's the sexiest. We need to spend more time together. She was still on script. And that's why she didn't flinch when he was saying anything, because Tom Sandoval forgot to tell her, by the way, I think I'm with you, but I'm actually about to dip out. It was his exit strategy. He was laying
he very clearly
not dip out.
not dip out,
right?
He very clearly wanted her to. He wanted it to look like it was Ariana's idea to break up and to say, you know what, maybe things aren't working, because he doesn't want to look like the bad guy. He wants to come off scot-free. And he was using Raquel to sort of plant that seed of like, well, I know that when James and I stopped having sex, like, that's when I knew it was time to break up. So she's trying to like plant that seed with Ariana, like, well, maybe we should break up then. And it just backfired because Ariana's loyal as hell.
That part.
She was in for the win. She wasn't there for just the year or two. She was there till the end. And that's the meaning of a ride or die.
Yeah.
And once again, that I keep saying that to people. That's why people feel so emotionally attached to this Scandoval situation because we had seen Scandovals, quote unquote, in every single Bravo show. And like many times that we talked about it for like a day or two and we were done with it and move on to the next one. But this one is took so hard because you just made a point, Lisa, very, very clearly. Ariana was there until the end. She was in for in the ups and the downs and the good and the bad. And Sandoval was only there when he wanted to be in, and then he dipped out, and his whole entire freaking what's it called, like a pantomime, like a mime, I don't know, like his little act that he was doing, yeah, it just fell apart.
And you know what was, to me, this was the most telling thing. And I was like, Sandoval, you're a hot mess. The work is completely showing. So last night on the reunion, when he goes, I even told like one of our producers that we weren't being honest about our relationship. And they cut to like September 2022, where he's talking to the producer. I was like, you're so manipulative and you've been laying the groundwork for this narrative for months. The only reason why Sandoval had that conversation with the producers was to then, if his plan had worked out, to go back and say, well, I told you guys, I wanted to tell the truth. I wanted to be honest about us, but she didn't because it's not fair. Well, was it not fair the last 9 years that you guys have had this pact and this script and fronting for the camera? Or did all of a sudden you get a crisis of conscience that you might want to be honest about your relationship? Or is it because you're just ready to end the relationship, but because you're so narcissistic, you have to either be the villain or the savior? Or you have to be the savior or the victim. So he was creating the narrative for when he did actually break up with her or force her out, whatever the hell he was saying, he could then play the victim. See, I told you we weren't being honest. We weren't happy for forever, and she was the one who was lying about the thing. And I said it wasn't fair. Roll the footage back. That was nothing but a setup. He was trying to get receipts. That's what
he was already with Rachel. I mean, he was already with Rachel behind the scenes. So there was a game plan already. So the game plan fell when Scandoval leaked before they wanted to be leaked.
Yep. 100%. And the thing is, I don't even think his game plan was to break up with Ariana and be with Rachel. I think his game plan was just to break up with Ariana and then go out and do whatever he wanted to do. Because if you think about it, there's really nothing holding them back, these star-crossed lovers, but yet they're not together. He's out there with, that influencer and whoever groupies and doing this, that, and a third, and wherever Rachel is getting help or a facial, I don't know, whatever she's doing, it's not with Tom. You know what I mean? So again, because I don't think that Tom Sandoval has the capacity to truly love another person in that sense. I think he only sees people as extensions of himself and as means to his end. So it could have been Rachel, but insert any girl that was willing to fill that spot. That's why he has that blueprint MO. That's why we have all like the stitches of like him in 2003 or 2013, wherever the hell it was, with Kristen saying the same exact thing that he said about Ariana and now doing with Ariana and Raquel. It's not about the person. Insert female X. It's about him. That's his that's his pathology. That's his sickness that he's putting on other people.
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Question. What would y'all define a one night stand as specifically? Just like in one quick sentence, what would you define that as?
Sex with a stranger one night and you never see them again.
Thank you very much. A one night stand is not with someone who is your partner's best friend. I'm sorry. The
wow.
script they kept sticking to, it was a one night stand. Oh, it was a one night stand. It was not a one night stand.
There were emotions involved.
So true.
Because they know each other
Yeah,
for a long
that's
time.
very true.
To diminish what it was. They're trying to give it a throw. No, they, instead of saying they had sex, they keep saying it was a one night stand. They won't even say that they like banged. You remember how that was the word they always used back in the day on the show. They didn't even use that. They're trying to minimize it so much that they've lost the definition, because a one night stand is someone you met that night.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Or somebody you don't have an emotional attached to.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah. I mean, Jackson Kristen was more of a one night stand than freaking Scandoval and Rachel
That's
were.
friends with
If we're being
benefits, though.
honest, that was more of a one night stand.
If you're
Drives
friends
do it.
and you're not in a committed relationship and you're sleeping together, that is called friends with benefits, right?
Crazy.
I don't know why them using one night stand really got a hook in my craw about it.
It's again them trying to create a narrative. They're trying to create a narrative where they lessen their consequences and lessen their accountability in the situation. It was just a one night stand versus a 7-month plus affair.
You know what? I think it's intense how he keeps saying one night stand, and every time he said it, they cut to Rachel in the trailer. I mean, I was loving those moments because to me it felt like either she was prepared for what he was going to say, she was hurting inside, or she realized that she was also lied to. And either or scenarios I was happy with, because if they needed to lie or prepare this like script, there is no relationship. It's bullshit. You're just a pawn in the game, you know. But if she found out for the very first time that Sandoval was still having sex with Ariana while he was having sex with Rachel by telling her that his sex life was non-existent, I like Rachel.
There was that moment. Like,
yes,
Ariana said something about like them. I think it was when Sheena said, I brought Lala's suspicions to Ariana in January. And Ariana told me that they were better than ever. They were intimate, at that time. And they cut to Rachel, and you could tell she was like, well, that's not what I was told. And like, you can see it registering on her face, like, oh shit, like I've been lied to also.
Mm-hmm. And she had another one of those moments when Sandoval, for one of the few times he's actually authentic and he lets his mask slip, when they were talking about whether or not it was appropriate to have sex with like a friend and all of that stuff, and he goes, it's not appropriate. And they're like, well, you must have thought it was appropriate, blah, blah, blah. They like attacked him. And he was like, no, I still don't think it's appropriate. And then you see her face, she's like, like, she's like shutting down because she's like, wait a minute, what do you mean? Because this whole time you've been feeding her like, we're so in love, we're star-crossed, and I'm like kissing you, something ignited something into me, and it's so passionate, blah, blah, blah. So she's like, what are you, like, you know what I mean? Like, does not compute. And I
cannot wait for Raquel and Tom we get that scene outside the trailer. I need to see them discussing what just went down. I need to see them, like, I cannot wait for that smoking parking lot scene. Like, inject that into my veins because I need it now. I need her to come for him for all of the lies and everything. Is she going to be mad? Are they going to be getting along? Because those photos kind of seemed like they were having a little bit of an intense conversation, vaping and smoking. So I don't know. I do believe cannot wait to see Raquel.
I do believe that Raquel's mind, in her mind, she was thinking, we are the next Megan Fox and Machine Gun Kelly. We're going to be carrying around our blood in our chains around our neck. In her mind, that's what was going to happen. But she realized right there that was not Sandoval's plan all along.
Yeah.
She's be the next Brad and Angela.
That's what I was going to say.
And with Ariana being like,
oh my God,
Jennifer Aniston, that's what they thought.
We're gonna have all these kids, and it's gonna be so cute.
God. What do you guys think the big bombshell revelation is that Alice Baskin was teasing?
Timeline.
Well, I do. Yeah. And I do have a little bit of an answer that I got from Andy because I went to his book signing event in LA last week, and he kind of made nothing of it. There was an audience member who asked the question, and he was like, you guys are going to learn stuff that you don't know already. But as far as like a cast bombshell that's preventing contracts being signed for next season, he didn't know anything about it. He seemed genuine in his answer. So I don't know. I'm taking that as a rumor, but we will see. Time will tell.
It's
Well,
You know
not
what?
that Raquel is
but it
Rachel is
came
pregnant.
But it came from Alex Baskin, who was the executive producer and co-creator. So
Yeah.
it's not a rumor. It's literally from the executive producer of the show. He said that
Oh,
to in
that's news to
Variety.
me.
Variety, yeah.
Yeah,
He said
so
to Variety that they
Yep.
needed a break. I think it's just also I'm gonna just it's not like the most exciting answer, but I think they've been hearing through the Bravo community collective that we kind of say, okay, you guys are picking the cameras up too soon after the reunion, and then they are still Salt Lake City is the best example of this. Still talking about shit from last season that for us has been a year ago, and for them
Yeah.
it was a month ago, and so they're not over it, and we're ready to move on from a lot of things. And I think they are going. We cannot have an entire season 11 only be about Scandoval. We are going to oversaturate it, and they need to keep the lightning in the bottle. Oh God, I hate using anything with a lightning bolt, but I think it's just really that we're going to learn the timeline. Now that part, this is just my thought, is timeline and maybe some things that they did behind Ariana's back that were even more diabolical than what we thought if it isn't the timeline. So that's really all I think it's going to be myself, and that he's just teasing that so that we'll keep watching and give them an excuse. They need a break, right?
They need a break.
Yeah,
moment.
they definitely
I
need a
agree.
Yeah, and there's been some wild theories. Like there's a theory that Raquel is pregnant. There's
It's
the
not-
theory that
Yeah,
that
untrue.
Rachel had sex with Brock. There's the theory that
Untrue.
I don't think it's true. Yeah.
I don't think, and I personally don't think these are true. This is just what everyone's been saying, that she had sex with Brock, that Rachel started the affair, timeline stuff, like when she was with James. Also, that Schwartz knew more, was more involved, more in the cover up than we know. So there's all of like those kind of conspiracies and things going around. I don't really think it's any of that. I think it's either like something I don't know, maybe Sheena knew a little bit more before, but I don't know. I think maybe she's going to try and spin something, throw her under the bus. I don't know. This is all conjecture, theory. I'm not saying any of this is like true or anything.
Right.
But I really hope it's something. I hope it's not Alex Baskin, kind of giving us a big nothing burger just so we tune in. Because he said all of the buzzwords. He's like, it's not just a recap. There will be new information. The cast will have to take a beat. So he got it really juicy. So I hope there is something. But my prediction is, and everyone's like, oh, well, it has to have happened between the one-on-ones or else the rest of the cast would know what the bombshell is. But Alex said in the interview that the cast doesn't know, and it'll be revealed to everyone on the third part. And then that's when they're going to have to take the beat to see if they want to resign or come on, and people's perceptions of everything will change. So that's a pretty big thing. So I think, and I believe Andy, I think Andy may not know, I don't think it's necessarily something that happened in a one-on-one. I think it's like a Lisa Barlow hot mic moment. I think somebody
That's what I was just about to
during
say.
the reunion
In the parking lot smoking is what kind of just came to me.
either parking lot smoking,
There you go.
or somewhere where they dropped something where either they forgot they were mic'd, didn't care they were mic'd, whatever it was, and they caught it. And that's
we have Sandoval, get the cameras off me.
Right,
Stop filming. Stop. You
that's
know,
why
like
well, I don't
whiny
know
baby.
how, like we didn't have anything that bombshell, and like I think
Well,
it might be like a hot mic moment.
There's something I do. I'm gonna have, and I just want to say this. I am dying for these pregnancy rumors to stop. It was not a valid source that this woman was sharing.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to say she was very nasty to me when I made a video. Oh, yes, she was. I'm sorry, but I'm going to go ahead and say that now. I don't even care anymore. She was very nasty to me in my DMs in a way that was highly inappropriate. And at this point, here's the thing. When you make an allegation that someone is pregnant, especially for women, and this is not a political show, but what I am telling you right now, you don't do that. That is not okay right now. There is only one thing.
No, I completely agree.
That is sacred. And if she was we're going to say going camping, if she's doing that in a certain state, that is illegal for her to do. That she still has every right to do that with her body. And so it is so wrong and so
anti-privacy.
To ever try and out a pregnancy, don't be that person. So we as content creators are not doing that. If she says she is pregnant, that is one thing. And oh my God, if she were, I'd be like, holy shit. But point being, it is a dangerous time for women to be pregnant if they don't want to be. So it is reckless and wrong. We don't want to see anyone be hurt. I mean, can you imagine the vitriol? Let's say she was, and she took care of it. Do you realize people will not only send her death threats, it will be on a whole other level. So unless there's an ad for Clear Blue, where the pregnancy rumors got to stop. It's not safe as a female in this country doing that, period. You don't do that to other women.
And Alex Bastian,
Yeah, I totally agree.
It wasn't true. I personally never thought it was true.
Yeah, me neither.
And the thing is, not so much because of how she was moving, but because it did not look like Tom Sandoval was behaving in a way where he thought he had a baby on the way. He wasn't moving like he was like, oh my God, or something.
Because he had wanted kids, right? Y'all, like
allegedly. I mean, he'll use any excuse to fit his narrative and stuff. But I don't think he wants kids with her. He's not with her.
Yeah, I agree. No, you guys, I was going to ask you, I mean, this is going to sound a little off topic, but I noticed that we were talking about Andy Cohen before. I noticed one thing. When he said, my cards, that was hysterical. But
The best.
I loved it.
I noticed that he has a special place for pretty much every single person on that cast. I mean, obviously, he cannot take Tom's side because obvious reasons. But you can tell that he has a very soft spot, and he thrives in this type of settings. Like as a host for the reunion, he's doing a great job compared to Housewife. Like I'm always annoyed with his house behavior because he takes a fan's position, and like, dude, you're not a fan, you're a host. But on this time, like, he is able to maneuver the fact that he needs to, okay, let me talk to James, let me calm down this person, let me address a question that is important, and let me follow up with another question. And I'm like, Mr. Andy Cohen showed up to work and he's thriving. So what do you guys think about that?
I think he always does a great job. I am such an Andy Cohen fan. Like, if I could ever like have a, who's your ideal dinner party, like, he would be top of my list. So I think he always does a great job. And I think he does hold housewives to the fire a lot of times too, where it's like, he doesn't always let them get off. That you can definitely tell like he has kind of his favorites, but overall, I feel like he does a pretty good job. So I don't know that I could necessarily agree with that one.
Well, I think he treats them a little bit differently. We see the soft spot as a father that he's really grown, and I think he kind of looks at them not necessarily like they could be his kids, but like they're not even like little brothers and sisters. I don't really know what to call it, but kind of in a way Lisa looks at them. And so I can see where he treats them a little bit differently because he's watched them grow up. We all have. They've grown up with us,
I think that Andy, I agree with Eddie. I think that he's grown because I'm not always happy with how he does Housewife reunion. He doesn't take a fan points of view because usually he's on the wrong side. We're all like, no, did you not watch the season? Like, what are you talking about? You're asking the wrong questions. He kind of takes more of like a fan girl position with his favorites. Right. And I think that, but I think he's heard that feedback because I think he got a lot of backlash with the Potomac reunion, particularly the one with Monique, that we were not pleased with how he handled that situation. I think he took that feedback in. I think how he handled the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, this last reunion, I think he took that feedback in. The way he handled the situation with Erica and Rinna and Garcelle and some other people, it was really tone deaf when he was like laughing about Garcelle's book being in the trash when she's sitting there about to cry and he's like, oh, Erica, you took one for the team. Oh, he got a lot of backlash for that. So I think that he's learning, and I think it's good that he's actually getting better because like even this past Potomac one afterwards, he's like, oh, look, we're gonna have the conversation about colorism, but I don't think I'm the person to moderate this. So I'm gonna let you guys moderate it. So I think that he's doing a much better job, and I think that I really enjoyed him for Vanderpump Rules reunion this time. I do think he's listening. I think he came way better prepared. I think he's asking better questions. And I think that Lisa, because she's there, which is very different than when he hosts Housewives, Lisa is more of the position that Andy has kind of taken in the past, where she has her favorites and she sort of, teeters to who she's more like. She's more on Tom's side than everybody else's side. And we kind of see that favoritism when we're kind of like, be a little bit more unbiased, a little bit more neutral, don't get involved, stand your ground, but maybe not at the detriment of other people. So I agree with you. I think that Andy Cohen is doing a much better job. With that being said, I think he used to do a really great job. I think only in like the middle, when he got like so many shows and there's like Below Deck, Winter House, Summer House, blah, 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 Vanderpump and all this stuff, where it's too much. And also he became a dad. Like, so you're a full-time father. You have all of these shows. You're doing Anderson Cooper New Year's Eve. That's too much for any one person. So I don't think it was necessarily him not doing the job. I think he was just being spread too thin. And I actually blame the person in his ear and the people preparing the questions, because it's like, prepare different questions that we actually want to know. And I also think because of like the last couple of years, social media has really changed the game when it comes to reality TV. They're really catching up to us now, to the content creators, to the bloggers, to the YouTubers, to everybody. We're getting the breaking stories. Just like we said before, we already know the majority of this from months ago, but they're just now breaking it like this is like new news. So I think there's also that transition of catching up to technology and catching up to us and catching up to breaking news, where prior to that, a couple of years ago, we went to them as the authority. They were the ones breaking the news. We were going to them for the insights, for that behind the scenes. But now you can go on TikTok and do a hashtag and you see everything that comes up. So I think he had a little bit of a wobble, just giving everything on his plate and also catching up to social media. And I think he's getting back in his right step.
Oh my God. Sorry. That was such a great point. Kim, we have the same picture up here. Look at Sonia.
We do,
I was noticing that.
And this was actually a gift by Lisa. So thank you, Lisa. You have good
great taste.
obviously.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Caitlin, great taste.
I mean, it's hard to see all of it, but I'm from Oklahoma and I have the Taylor, I'm about to take you out back and go Oklahoma on your ass. And, but I love that artist. And I talk about it all the time. Do you remember the artist I got mine on Society 6. I keep forgetting to tell people. Yeah, look up, y'all, if you ever want to find this art. It's very well priced and it's really fun. Anyway,
look up Sonia Morgan Society 6 and you'll probably find it. But it's, it's what we all just want to be doing all day. It's just,
I know, channeling Sonia Morgan.
Watching,
yes, absolutely.
Forever.
Watching
Guys,
forever.
so I want to wrap the episode, because we got to the at that point we get to the trip for next week. I want to once again, if you guys are free next Thursday, I would love to continue the conversation with all of you guys. We might have more people join in, because I want this to be a panel of like many content creators. This is going to be our little BravoCon version of content creators, you guys.
That's going to go for hours.
So just to let everybody know, the rating was 2 million people watching last night, that reunion. That is a high on Bravo shows. And I want to give the stage to all of you guys. I want Kim and Lisa, you guys can start. I know you guys have a little shorter time right now, so go guys, go promote everything you got going on.
Well, you can, of course, follow me on Instagram at Bravo Breaking News. I am posting all of the Scandoval drama plus everything else. You can also watch Lisa and I on Bravo Breaking News on YouTube. We are recapping Vanderpump Rules every week.
Yep.
Lisa?
And I just launched a new Instagram called Lisa Not Rinna. So give me a follow there for
How
some more
cute is
fun
that?
content.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. This was so fun.
Yes. I'll
thank
jump
you
in.
so much.
You can find me at Besties by Bravo. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram. And if you follow TikTok and Instagram, I have different content on both. I am doing double the work. I have my podcast. You can literally find it anywhere you listen to a podcast. Apple, iHeart, Spotify, all of it. And I'm on YouTube, and my podcast on Vanderpump will come out tomorrow, and I cover other shows on Bravo as well.
Get
Very
it?
nice. Well, for Bravo content, you can find me on YouTube at Candy Washington. But for my other content, which is self-care and self-love and wellness, you can listen to my podcast, The Soft Life with Candy Washington, on all podcast platforms. You can also head over to my website, candywashington.com, for courses, free guides, more podcasts, more content on self-care and wellness as well. And then head over to Instagram and TikTok at Candy Washington. And yeah, just come on and say hello.
And me, I'm Martini with Eddie. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter for the extra tea. That's where I put all the hot stuff right there. You can watch me and all my guests, my beautiful guests right here on YouTube as Martini with Eddie. My podcast, Martini with Eddie, is everywhere you listen to your podcast. And I just launched my first merch line. You can find that at martiniwitheddie.com. Yes. And the first line is a capsule line with poo-poo head. So if you don't want to be a poo-poo head, go get your merch. Guys, very important. I always ask you, go follow and subscribe my guests' podcast, and also rate, because that's the way that we as podcasters survive, with your love and support. And like I always say, you guys, every week, I say bye, besties, so you guys can say it with me. 1, 2, 3.
Bye,
Bye,
besties.
besties.